I think it's really time for us as the IT industry, as entrepreneurs in the IT business, to really challenge the general public, to challenge our clients, to challenge prospects that frankly, good just isn't good enough anymore when it comes to IT, but more importantly, cybersecurity. All too often, I'm hearing back, from our advertising or our marketing outreach and emails, saying, "Hey, Steven, I appreciate the offer, but we're good. I've got a good guy. Our IT company is good," right? And I think we all know, because we've gone into so many different networks, into so many different environments, into so many different clients, and seen the literal shit show of backups, aren't running consistently and nobody's paying attention to them. Patches are out of date, right? And there's a lot of older infrastructure, end of life, frankly, just not up to best practices in that network. We're finding that, they haven't implemented two-factor. They don't have a cyber education plan. They're not looking at any of these more robust layers that we all are and are implementing in our businesses and for our clients, because we know them to be the things that will protect our clients and us from cybercrime. And so, everybody just frankly, writing us off or pushing us away and saying, "Oh, we're good, we're fine, we're good enough." I think it's really time for us in the IT industry to push back on that, because good just isn't good enough. And to do it with, grace and empathy and understanding, and to say, "Oh, wow, hey, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you have, someone you can really trust and count on." I was also curious, how are those new cybersecurity layers going? Are you happy with the implementation? Are the projects getting completed? Is your team responding in a positive way, really, embracing, these cyber protections, or are they kind of, miffed and upset that they have to go through additional hurdles, and kind of driving that wedge and that challenger sale of, getting that business owner or that prospect to really think, "Wait a second. What layers? We're not rolling out any layers. What do they mean? 7-layer taco dip," right? And then my hope is that they come back with said responses, and then we can really dive in and get them to understand that good just isn't good enough. The newsworthy headline of Colonial Pipeline being breached and having issues of shutting down the pipeline, and, having this, I think it was $10 million ransom, whatever it may be. And the effects of that, right, to all the different people. And it comes out that it was essentially an older VPN account that wasn't really necessary, that was kind of shared, that maybe had too much level of access and permissions, that had I think a reused password, right? A password that had been found on the dark web and then reused, right? Something as stupid, silly, and simple as that, and literally just not following best practices, right? If a user no longer is within the organization, all accounts should be disabled and or deleted, right? Best practice number 1, they would have followed that. This never would have happened. Best practice number 2, right? Scanning the dark web, looking for password reuse so that a password can't be reused in the network in sensitive areas, things like that. Another best practice, right? All of these different things that, would have stopped, and they frankly just weren't doing the right things, thereby all of, again, the things because of that, right? Of the pipeline being shut down and how many people are affected, and the organization being affected, and revenues and loss and all of these different things. And it was just simply due to best practices. And if this is happening, of course, if this is happening in big business, it's happening in small business, and there are millions of businesses, any one of which could be affected by this exact same thing. And we have thousands of IT companies running around trying to do good work, right? Trying to work hard, but are frankly understaffed, behind on best practices, not as up to date because they're buried in help desk tickets, right? And, this again, and we've shot film on this, like it's time for us as an industry to kind of band together in places, right? Because we are frankly spread too thin in a lot of different places, time, talent, money. But also, right, I think there's a lot of our competitors out there that are just not doing this work, right? Again, they're behind the curve, they're not up to speed, and they can't focus on adapting, every single month to what's new in cyber threats and cybercrime, and thereby, their customers are suffering. They're good people, they're trying to do the best they can, but again, it's just not good enough. And I think it's super important for all of us to educate the market, educate the world that this is all of what's happening. Here's how we can address it. Here's how we need to address it. And then ensuring that we do that, for as many organizations as we can, because this really shouldn't be an issue of me versus you and competition. This should be us saying, hey, this is America. This is American business. Let's do the best we can to support and protect everyone so that we can fight the bad guys, whomever they may be from afar, really to, protect all of what's good in our country.